What if you lived in a country where the outside world barely exists? A place with no internet, limited visitors, and almost no connection to modern global life? Some places on Earth remain so isolated that they are nearly impossible to visit or leave. From North Korea's strict regime to the remote islands of Tristan to Cunha, life in these countries is like stepping into another world. Stay with me as we explore what daily life is really like in the most isolated countries on Earth. In today's world of instant global connectivity, it's hard to imagine places where people are cut off from the rest of the planet. But in some nations, isolation is a way of life. Whether due to government control, geographical remoteness, or limited resources, these places exist almost as their own separate universes. From the world's most secretive dictatorship to islands with only a few dozen residents, let's take a closer look at what life is truly like in the most isolated countries in the world. One. North Korea, the most secretive nation on Earth. North Korea is undoubtedly the most isolated country in the world. Under the rule of Kim Jong-un, the nation is cut off from the internet, foreign media, and outside influence. The government controls every aspect of daily life, from what people can watch on TV to what jobs they are assigned. Foreigners are rarely allowed in, and citizens are forbidden from leaving without government permission. Despite modern skyscrapers in Pyongyang, much of the country suffers from poverty and food shortages due to strict economic sanctions and government mismanagement. North Koreans live under constant surveillance, with severe punishments for anyone who dares to question the regime. Life in North Korea is a mystery to much of the world, and those who live there have almost no idea what life is like outside their borders. 2. Bhutan, the isolated Himalayan kingdom. Bhutan is one of the most secluded nations on Earth, not because of government control, but by choice. This small Himalayan kingdom has preserved its unique culture and traditions by limiting outside influence. Bhutan only began allowing tourists in 1974, and even today, visitors must pay a daily fee of at least $200 to limit tourism. The country measures progress with happiness instead of money, using gross national happiness instead of GDP. Bhutan has no traffic lights, and its capital, Thimphu, is one of the only capitals in the world without them. The nation prioritizes environmental conservation, with over 70% of the country covered in forests. Despite its isolation, Bhutan has a high quality of life, strong traditions, and remains one of the most peaceful countries on Earth. 3. Tuvalu, a country that might disappear. Tuvalu, a tiny island nation in the Pacific, is so remote that less than 3,000 tourists visit each year. With a population of only 11,000 people, it is one of the least visited and least populated countries in the world. Tuvalu has no military, and its economy is mostly based on fishing and selling internet domain names, .tv. Due to rising sea levels, Tuvalu is slowly sinking, and scientists believe it could become uninhabitable within the next 50 years. There are no ATMs, fast food chains, or major supermarkets. Everything is imported, making life expensive and dependent on foreign aid. Tuvalu's biggest struggle isn't its isolation, it's the possibility of disappearing entirely due to climate change. 4. Pitcairn Islands, the least populated country on Earth. With a population of only 47 people, the Pitcairn Islands, a British overseas territory, are the least populated jurisdiction in the world. The islands were originally settled by mutineers from the HMS Bounty in 1790, and nearly all residents are their descendants. There are no airports, and the only way to reach Pitcairn is by boat, which arrives just a few times a year. Every resident has multiple roles. Someone might be a farmer, a teacher, and a government worker all at once. There are no hotels or major stores, and all supplies must be imported, making daily life heavily dependent on external shipments. Pitcairn is so isolated that the government actively seeks new residents to move there, but very few take the offer. 5. Nauru, the island that lost everything. Nauru was once one of the richest countries per capita due to its massive phosphate reserves, but today it is one of the most impoverished and isolated nations. The tiny island, with a population of just over 10,000, has almost no natural resources left. The once booming economy collapsed when phosphate mining destroyed the land, leaving most of the island uninhabitable. Today, unemployment is extremely high, and the country relies heavily on aid from Australia. Obesity and diabetes rates are among the highest in the world due to a lack of fresh food and reliance on imported processed goods. What was once a paradise has now become a lesson in environmental destruction and economic collapse. 6. Tristan da Cunha, the most remote inhabited island. Tristan da Cunha, a volcanic island in the South Atlantic, is the most remote inhabited place on Earth. The island is home to only 250 people, and the nearest landmass is over 1,500 miles away. There is no airport, and reaching the island requires a week-long boat trip from South Africa. Residents live in one small village, and almost everything is grown, hunted, or fished locally. There are no restaurants, internet cafes, or hotels. The island remains cut off from the modern world. Despite its isolation, the people of Tristan da Cunha have built a tight-knit community, completely self-sufficient and free from many of the world's problems. While the rest of the world is becoming more connected, these isolated countries remain frozen in time. Whether due to geographical challenges, government policies, or cultural preservation, life in these places is a rare glimpse into a world untouched by modern globalization. Which of these isolated places would you want to visit? Have you ever heard of these countries before? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world's most remote places, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating travel and cultural insights.